There are people who believe that they have a God-given right to rule over others. They believe that their outward appearance is superior to all others. They harbor selfish ambitions to be rich and to have power over what they describe as common people. They lie, cheat, steal, strangle, stab and slash their way to power. They believe that their actual willpower, what the British occultist Aleister Crowley described as the will of Thelema, the royal will, must be obeyed. Literally millions of people have been slaughtered at the behest of the royal lust for war, and thousands of people have been assassinated so that demonic dukes and killer queens can reign supreme. This cabal of crowned killers use the global network of secret societies, loosely described as the Illuminati, to do their bidding and killing. The conspiratorial view of history is the correct view of history. Conspiracy to grab property, conspiracy to make illegal profits, and conspiracy to assassinate has been the driving force behind the royal political elite for thousands of years. This can clearly be seen in a photograph of the British King George V standing beside Tsar Nicholas of Russia. Today's royal family is in power due to the bloody, horrible, murdering activities of their forefathers. By the second half of the 16th century, the major bloodlines which sit on the thrones of Britain and Europe today were already established. One of the most vicious crowned killers was Tsar Ivan IV of Russia. His mother fell foul of one of the most common forms of royal assassination. She died of poisoning when Tsar Ivan was just 8 years old. The young Tsar took great advantage of his royal will, what Aleister Crowley described as the royal thelema, a Greek word for willpower. All monarchs can exert their will and decree any act, even murder and rape, and act above the law. When he was just 9 years old, Tsar Ivan started torturing animals. This is a practice which is continued in ritual form amongst initiates of the Ordo Templi Orientis, a secret Masonic academy previously headed by Aleister Crowley. By the age of 10, Ivan, Tsar of Russia, would personally oversee the torturing of so-called political prisoners. These were people who had merely been critical of his power. he committed his first rape at the age of 11. He was crowned in 1547 and diverted public attention away from their own abject poverty by entering into war with Poland and Lithuania. Tsar Ivan took thousands of prisoners and personally supervised their torture, often devising the most wicked torture techniques himself. Tsar Ivan positively relished the screams of people as they had their eyes torn out. Women and even children were disemboweled, mauled by wild bears for his amusement, and people had parts of their bodies cut off and fed to his dogs whilst they roasted alive on a spit. Ivan also threw children into freezing lakes and rivers, and by 1569 he had extended his royal fortunes and property, with 60,000 people having been brutally murdered, many by his own hands. Witch hunts of the Middle Ages took place all over Europe and even in the United States of America. However, witch hunts in the Russian Imperial Empire were much more rare. To this very day, a huge number of Russian people are attributed with psychic power. In the 19th century, the Russian Romanov royal family employed a powerful hypnotist and mystic. He has become known as the Mad Monk Grigory Rasputin. The story of Rasputin exemplifies the psychopathic nature of the monarchy. Rasputin was a self-styled monk and therefore had friends in the Russian Orthodox Church. Rasputin had endured poverty, giving him the common touch with the peasant population of Russia. He was revered as someone who could heal, therefore bringing him notoriety across the vast empire of Imperial Russia. Rasputin was also someone who could entertain the company of royalty. Rasputin was seen as a threat by the Romanov royal dynasty. Grigory Rasputin may have actually become Russia's first truly popular leader had he not been poisoned and murdered by one of the royal princes. Born in 1869, the mystical Grigory Rasputin could engage himself in an intense trance where he prophesied future events. His psychic healing powers were employed by Tsar Nicholas and Queen Alexandra. Rasputin used his famous healing hands to cure the Tsar's son. Once the royal Romanov dynasty saw the immense power of Rasputin, they quickly realized that a popular revolt may elevate Rasputin to be the leader of a new Russian republic. The Romanov royal family immediately plotted the murder of Rasputin. However, Rasputin's psychic powers allowed him to prophesy his own death, and he gave warning to Tsar Nicholas that if he were to murder Rasputin, then the whole Romanov royal family would also be killed. On New Year's Eve 1916, Prince Felix Yusupov invited Rasputin to the Moika Palace in St. Petersburg. The prince gave Rasputin poisoned food. However, Rasputin showed no sign of dying. Prince Felix panicked and rushed out of the palace to consult Grand Duke Dmitri. The Duke and Prince returned with a gun and shot Rasputin at point-blank range. A palace doctor was called who could find no sign of life in the body of Rasputin. However, suddenly, Rasputin regained consciousness, and the prince and the duke ran for the outer gate of the palace and called for armed troops to finish off Rasputin. Rasputin chased the duke and prince. The crowned prince took a club and hit Rasputin repeatedly over the head in a typically psychopathic royal temper. Palace guards were ordered to wrap Rasputin in a heavy curtain, and he was then lowered to his death in the icy cold River Neva. Thus, the Russian people lost one of their truly great potential leaders. Soon after, a bloodbath would take place in Imperial Russia, and the dictatorial, cruel system of the Romanov monarchy would be continued by a fake revolutionary communist government who secretly took their orders from the royal political elite. Descendants of the Russian monarchy and aristocracy now rule Russia from behind the scenes, having introduced the same system of globalization and stock markets which the royal elite have used to ensnare the economies of most countries on the face of planet Earth.
Now, in the Hegelian system, the state is all-powerful, so we should ask ourselves, what is the state? Well, the state is the elite. The state is the royal, aristocratic hierarchy who are able to maneuver and live their lives in any way that they choose because they are super wealthy. Now, let's just talk about super wealth and super wealthy people. I can tell you now, after meeting quite a few of them, that they are very, very different to you or me. When I'm talking about super wealth, I am not talking about Puff Daddy who has allegedly 3 Bentleys. I'm talking about super wealth, family wealth, which was in the millions back in the 19th century. Now, when we look at this hierarchy of aristocrats and royal families around the world, we can see that they are the state. They are the people that the robots, I call them robots, the civil servants, who run the machinery of the state. It is the civil servants who swear allegiance to this elite.
We cannot allow our sons and daughters to be sent to die in a bankster's war. For oil, for heroin, for cocaine, for gold, or for control. There has never been a battle that has been won defensively. But we must prepare by becoming self-sufficient. We must prepare to do that which has not been done before. Once identifying the enemy, they have to be routed out.
Rats were caught in the sewers a week ago. Now they're starving. When the plastic door is raised up, the rats will shoot out like bullets. It was a common punishment in Imperial China. Do it, Julia! Do it, Julia! Not me! Julia!
Юные ленинцы, по-ленински жить и трудиться — наша большая мечта.